Hello and welcome to this latest video. Today we will tell you about Northern Ireland's 30-year conflict, the Troubles. Over the next few minutes, we will delve into the intricate web of historical, political and religious factors that fueled this 3-decade-long conflict. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and before we start, also like the video. The Troubles, a harrowing chapter in Northern Ireland's history, spanned 3 decades of conflict and violence. This tumultuous period, which lasted from 1968 to 1998, left an indelible mark on the region, resulting in thousands of casualties, political upheaval, and profound societal divisions. At the core of this strife was a complex interplay of historical, political, and religious factors that fueled a deeply rooted divide between Catholic Republicans and Protestant Unionists. In the heart of Belfast, a city that bore the brunt of the conflict, a towering 25-foot-high wall cut through an otherwise ordinary neighborhood. On one side resided the Catholic population, while on the other stood the Protestant community. This partition was not solely a consequence of religious differences, but a stark manifestation of a deeper schism. It delineated the divide between those who wished for Northern Ireland to remain a part of the United Kingdom and those who aspired to a united Ireland. This formidable barrier, known as a peace wall, was emblematic of a wider problem, with similar walls segregating neighborhoods that had once been in open conflict. The Troubles were characterized by some of the most dangerous armed paramilitary groups in the world. The Irish Republican Army, IRA, fighting for a united Ireland, and various loyalist paramilitary organizations, supporting the continued union of Northern Ireland with the UK, waged a relentless and deadly struggle. This conflict resulted in over 3,700 deaths and nearly 50,000 injuries. It was a time marked by bombings, shootings, and a pervasive atmosphere of fear and distrust. 2 individuals who lived through this tumultuous era, Michael and Billy, offered their perspectives. Michael, who joined the IRA in the 1970s, served nearly 16 years in prison on a life sentence for his involvement in activities targeting British forces. On the other side of the divide, Billy was part of the Ulster Volunteer Force, UVF, and spent time in prison for his role in a murder. Both men shared their experiences and their commitment to their respective causes during this turbulent period. To understand the roots of this conflict, it is essential to explore the historical context. Northern Ireland's troubled history can be traced back to the 1600s, when British colonization efforts in Ireland encountered fierce resistance, particularly in Ulster. Land confiscation from Irish residents to be given to Protestant settlers from Scotland and Northern England marked this period, known as the Plantation of Ulster. By the 20th century, the majority of Northern Ireland's population was Irish Catholic, facing discrimination and disadvantage at the hands of the Protestant British authorities. The situation escalated as Irish nationalists, seeking independence from British rule, won an overwhelming majority of seats in the 1918 elections outside of Ulster. However, Ulster, with its Protestant majority, opted to remain part of the UK, leading to a divided Ireland. This division led to a civil war, and the Treaty of Anglo-Irish Treaty in 1921 established the Irish Free State, while allowing Northern Ireland to remain part of the UK. The division of Ireland into 2 entities, with different political allegiances, fueled tensions, and violence persisted. The Troubles ignited in the late 1960s and continued for 3 decades, characterized by clashes between Catholic nationalists and Protestant Unionists, paramilitary activities, and British military involvement. The conflict reached a pivotal moment on Bloody Sunday in 1972, when British soldiers fired live rounds at Catholic civil rights marchers in Londonderry, resulting in 13 deaths. This event further inflamed tensions and led to an upsurge in support for armed resistance against British forces. In 1998, the Good Friday Agreement, or the Belfast Agreement, marked a significant turning point. This peace accord sought to end the violence by establishing power-sharing arrangements and addressing key political and social issues. The majority of the population in Northern Ireland voted in favor of the agreement, paving the way for a fragile peace. The agreement, however, did not provide a permanent resolution to the question of Northern Ireland's status. Brexit, the UK's decision to leave the European Union in 2016, added a new layer of complexity to Northern Ireland's situation. The Irish border became a central issue in negotiations between the UK and the EU. The Northern Ireland Protocol was introduced to mitigate the challenges posed by Brexit, creating a customs border in the Irish Sea, effectively keeping Northern Ireland within the EU single market while remaining part of the UK. This arrangement aimed to prevent a hard border on the island of Ireland, but it has remained a contentious issue. The Windsor Framework was proposed as an alternative to the Northern Ireland Protocol, focusing on creating separate customs lanes and reducing the visibility of the Irish Sea border. However, its implementation has yet to be finalized, and its efficacy remains uncertain. While the Good Friday Agreement brought an end to the conflict, Northern Ireland remains divided along sectarian lines. Peace walls, often running through neighborhoods, continue to separate Catholic and Protestant communities. Even with the cessation of violence, deep-seated divisions persist, and the scars of the past are visible in the murals, flags, and memorials that adorn the streets of Belfast. Though peace has been achieved, occasional clashes between different groups remind us of the enduring tensions. Some dissident Republican and Loyalist factions still exist and pose a threat to peace. The road ahead remains uncertain, and the question of Northern Ireland's future remains open, as the legacy of the Troubles continues to shape the region's identity and politics. The Troubles had profound economic and social repercussions in Northern Ireland. Investment in the region dwindled as businesses feared the instability, job opportunities were scarce, and emigration rates soared. The violence took a significant toll on the local economy, making it one of the poorest regions in the UK. The Troubles had a profound psychological impact on the people of Northern Ireland. The constant exposure to violence and the threat of danger led to a pervasive atmosphere of fear and mistrust. Families were torn apart, many individuals lost their lives, and countless more were imprisoned, leading to deep emotional scars that persist to this day. Children growing up during the conflict were often exposed to traumatic events and violence, leading to long-lasting psychological trauma. The education system also suffered, as schools and universities had to implement additional security measures and often had to close due to the threat of bombings or violence. The divisions between Catholic Republicans and Protestant Unionists deepened, leading to segregated communities, separate schools, and a lack of interaction between the two groups. Even after the Good Friday Agreement brought peace to the region, these divisions continued to influence social relationships and daily life. The legacy of the Troubles continues to impact the mental health and overall well-being of individuals who lived through this turbulent period. It underscores the importance of addressing the psychological wounds of conflict survivors and working towards a more integrated society in Northern Ireland. The role of women in the Troubles should not be overlooked. Women from both the Catholic and Protestant communities played crucial roles as activists, organizers, and peacemakers. They engaged in protests, lobbied for prisoners' rights, and campaigned for peace. Notably, Mairead Corrigan and Betty Williams, both Catholic and Protestant mothers, respectively, came together to co-found the Women for Peace movement after witnessing the tragic death of 3 children during a shootout in Belfast in 1976. This movement aimed to bridge the divide between the two communities and promote peaceful coexistence. The Troubles attracted international attention and condemnation. The conflict was a constant source of concern for the British government and was on the agenda of the United Nations. Efforts to mediate and broker peace were made by various governments and organizations, including the United States. Diplomatic initiatives aimed to find a resolution, but the violence persisted. The Troubles also left an indelible mark on the culture of Northern Ireland. It inspired a rich body of literature, music, and art that continues to explore the themes of conflict, division, and the pursuit of peace. Writers like Seamus Heaney, poets like Seamus Dean, and musicians like U2 and the Cranberries all drew on the Troubles for inspiration and as a way to reflect on the complexities of the conflict. The Troubles were a devastating period in Northern Ireland's history that arose from deep-seated historical and political divisions. The legacy of this conflict continues to influence the region's identity, politics, and societal dynamics, with ongoing challenges and uncertainties despite the progress made in the post-Good Friday Agreement era. Northern Ireland's path to lasting peace and reconciliation is a complex and ongoing journey,